Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Shama, and I'm back with a very interesting conversation. And I'm very excited to welcome somebody who, for me, this conversation, this chat, and this introduction itself is very interesting because today, who I'm introducing you, is he also hails from the same place that I hail to. Magad, the place of Buddha, the place of Mahavir. But more so, he is somebody who has been, learning life. He's somebody who has been into corporate exposure. Who he has today, as we see, there are multiple hats that he carries. He is a executive leadership coach. He's an OD practitioner. And while fulfilling all these roles, meeting people, interesting people, one of the things that he describes and is very close to his heart is learning life. And while learning life, and he also wanted to share this learning with everyone around, because sharing is something which is, he says, that it's the highest value that he keeps very close to his heart. So everyone, I would like to draw your attention to meet my very special guest today, Mr. Amlesh Ranjan. Hi, Amlesh.
Hi, Kshama. Thank you so much for such a nice introduction, such kind words. I'm really happy being here and want to thank you for the opportunity to, share some messages of value to all your people who are going to see this podcast.
Thank you, Amlesh. While connecting with you, it's a great. We have met offline also, and we've understood what inspires you and what is it that life values you. But today, very interestingly, we have met today to understand what is it that the book, that you fascinating book, and thank you for sharing that copy with me. If you haven't read so far, today we are giving you reasons why you should. In fact, I should say must go today and buy this book written by Amlesh called Penta Life. So Amlesh, thank you for sharing that copy with me. It's highly engrossing. But more than that, what is it that what happened? How did you get into writing this book? How did you get about sharing your learning with people? If you could help
Yeah,
us.
yeah, sure. I will love to share that. I come from Magad, as you just now mentioned. And so, and all these places of historical, ancient historical importance, Rajgriha, Nalanda, all were nearby. And we used to like bicycle, as in our early teens, we used to bicycle across. After the river, then we reach and we go there. We have spent a lot of time. We used to in the ancient ruins and all. And so, you have the ancient Alanda University ruins, and you can imagine great Emperor Ashoka and Chanakya and all. They have kind of worked from that place only. So there was enough inspiration. One of those visits. It so happened that there are some natural warm spring ponds. There is sulfur in the nearby hills, and that's how those warm. It's round the year warm water in the pond, and
Mhm.
that used to be our favorite place. Obviously, you can imagine, you
Of course.
adolescent boys. So we used to do a lot of play around in that pond. And then one of those visits, what we saw, that there were a group of monks who were sitting, Buddhist monks, who were
Mhm.
sitting by the side. They were looking at us, possibly waiting for us to, maybe when the pond will be a little clear, they will also take bath and so on and so forth.
Mhm.
But one of the monks was like looking at me a little longer. So
Mhm.
I also looked at him and smiled. And then he said that, so what are you doing?
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
said, well, enjoying life. What a 12, 13-year-old will respond. So I said,
Mhm.
enjoying life. Oh, life. What is life?
Oh.
Then I stopped and I said, well, life, good food, festivals, family.
Yeah.
Oh, what else is life? Then I said, playing cricket, going to school, playing with friends, you know, music, cinema. That is life. Oh, what else is life? He again asked, he insisted. Then I
Mhm.
kept on thinking and coming up some answers or the other. What else is life? He continued, what else is life? And I
Mhm.
kept on answering. And
Mhm.
then at one point in time, obviously I got
Mhm.
irritated. I mean, you're talking to
Yeah.
a 13, 14, 12, 13-year-old boy. So
Mhm.
I said maybe, actually, of course, the conversation was in Hindi, so, मैंने कहा कि सांस लेना ही जिंदगी है. So maybe just breathing is life. And then he sensed my irritation. He was quite after that. We also moved to the other part of the pond. And
Okay.
but that, we came out of the pond, we, washed up and dried up, ate, and even now time to go back. But normally, when we were bicycling to these ancient places, we'll always be like racing against each other, right? Nothing will be visible all through the way. The villages, the cows, the
You keep
goats, the
racing.
trees, the way, nothing. We are just like, racing boys, no? So we will be racing competitive spirit that is there all the time. So we were doing that. This time, because of this interaction that happened, I was much more pensive. I was thinking. I was like unusually quiet. We were still, pedaling fast, but now as if everything was clear, as if the beautiful trees, the cows, the villages, the villagers, the people, the vehicle, everything was visible. I was going at the same speed, but the mind was somehow, it's some kind of awakening that happened. Little too early in life, but to me it felt like awakening. And next time when I went, I tried searching for that monk, but then I couldn't find him, and maybe he came just for me that day. So that was, the inspiration from where the subject of life itself. I was a science age student. So, it was not as much required to get into that kind of a philosophy. It was too early also. Yes, we used to read scriptures and all from early part of our life, but then we were not really understanding the essence. But that time, after that, the life as a subject became, something that I got so interested. I became more inquisitive. I became more curious. The next visits, as if the ruins are talking to me, as if I am talking to the ancient ruins. All that was happening. So I took it forward. I kept on reading, kept on learning, kept on asking questions from saints, from, priests, and wherever I got an opportunity, I kept on doing that. And eventually, that interest remained. But during the pandemic, when everybody was down, everybody was impacted, right? That time we all were asking this question: what is the meaning of life? What really matters in life? Who matters in life? What is success? What is well-being? What is happiness? All that was happening. And one of those afternoons in the pandemic, obviously, I and my family also got impacted that time. One of those alone afternoons that this, the idea started crystallizing, that why not I write what really means. All that I have learned over a period of time, 22 days inside Buddhist pagoda, yoga teacher, all that need to come together into a book. And that's how, the outline got crystallized. And then finally it took 6 months, but then yes, a book took shape. Yeah. The Penta Life, could be published. Yes.
I was reading somewhere that, so when an author shares, or the book that you read, when a person writes a book, it's like, in those pages, he synthesizes all his learnings. What they, and it's like, sitting one to one, in and having a window to see the life experiences through what the author is trying to tell you. So, and I think it's one of the greatest service that I can possibly think of. Coming and sharing your learning with people so that they can, they can seek some meaning. They can find what is it that life may mean to. And so for me, it also gave me one very important perspective, but I will save that for later. So I'll moving on to our another question. What is this book? So if I am reading the book, for me, it has delivered what I for me. But people, those who have not read the book, people, if you have not read the book, go and buy it today. But what does the book promises to its reader?
Yeah. So, during again, I'll start the story from where we ended from the last question when I was answering the pandemic. Pandemic has impacted everyone on this planet, one way or the other. There is no one who has not had a known loss of personal life. No one who has not been inconvenienced. No one who has not uh, the thought occurred that, I don't know what is going to happen, whether world is going to survive or not, whether this is the, predictions, these are the predictions which are going to finally come true. So in those periods, I'm sure everyone is having these questions in their mind, you know,
Mhm.
like,
Mhm.
what is the true meaning of life? What really matters in life? There is no vehicle. There was nothing. You were not eating out. You were not going out. You were not meeting people. So, what really matters in life? And to start with, life itself matters first, no? The
Absolutely.
most important aspect of life is life itself. That realization happened. Nothing, no accomplishment, no achievement, no bigger vehicle, no bigger apartment, nothing else mattered. And I remember recently in the last AODN
Yeah, the discussion that we
webinar,
had on. Yeah,
Mr.
yeah,
TV Rao said, Professor TV Rao said that, 15,000 rupees was enough to live through the month,
yeah, yeah,
right? So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
what
For
are
all
our
of
real
us.
needs? Yeah. What are our real needs? Where really, which is the real happiness? Who really matters? All these questions must be there in the mind of all the people, expressed, unexpressed, in whichever way. So, what I'm tried doing through this book is try to answer those questions. That's why you will say, the book tagline I have written, the what, how, why, and how of living 5 lives in this one life to true and lasting happiness, well-being, and success. I'm saying this ultimately we all are looking at that happiness, right? Ultimately, we want the best of health, we want the well-being of ours, and we also want to see that what it really means to be successful. What is success? And I don't remember that one quote which is there, but that quote ended that somebody smiled because of you, that is to have succeeded,
Absolutely.
right? So to understand the definition, even the definition, real meaning of success, attaining happiness, really reaching out to those people who really really matter. I'm not saying not stay disconnected, but also that you're part of a larger universe. I have tried showing in the book that you're not just you are, first
An
of all, yes,
entity.
indeed you are an entity. Very important. That's a very important aspect of life, which again I deal with later on. But fact remains that eventually, if you are broken down, you are the same electron proton, which
Mm-hmm.
is the same energy vibrations which are there in the plant and the animals and the mountain and the river and the sea. So
Mm-hmm.
everything is interconnected. And I have tried capturing that interconnectedness as well, which was very, very important when we were completely isolated. So I have taken the story from individual entity to the complete connectedness that you enjoy in this universe, and in between the other three aspects which are very important. That's how I have, 5 aspects, 5 dimensions. That's how I have written in the book, and hence those who will go through, they will have some level of clarity. We know, I say that, normally 5 lives I'm talking about, 2.5 lives most of us live very well,
Hmm.
but
Absolutely.
rest 2.5, if we start living, then possibly we will find answers to those questions that we have been continuously asking ourselves. Sometimes
Absolutely.
it comes at midlife crisis. Sometimes it comes when some relation-based crisis happens. But it does keep on coming, and I've tried providing some answers to the best of my understanding and knowledge. Yes.
Yeah, so one of the, I mean, while reading the book, this whole element of oneness with nature, it comes so strong that our own experiences when we go out and sit in the park or sit in the places, sit with the nature or to a water body, the oneness with the nature, it feels so alive. Why do we feel so connected, with those elements? And we always, so whenever you go on a trek or we always go on a, and we feel, okay, why am I feeling so much at peace? Why is it so good to be in nature? So yeah, I think this, because this comes across very alive once you after reading the book, of course. Okay, so moving on to the next question. So we all seek happiness in our pathway of our lives, some way pathway of happiness and meaningful life. So how does Penta Life emphasizes this idea?
Yeah. So, as I was mentioning, the five lives, living five lives in this one life, that's the key theme. And so, what I have tried presenting in the book is that the five dimensions of life that we have got. And you know how these five dimensions have come into the play. So I will take the story trillions of years back when
Hmm.
the Big Bang happened, and
Hmm.
a molten ball of lava got segregated in the became part of the larger universe as one of the celestial entities, and one of those molten ball of fireball kind of a structure somehow cooled down to take the shape of our Mother Earth, our home, our planet. And somehow, you had 70% of water, somehow you had breathable air, somehow the whole thing was such as if this the ball structure, the round structure as part of the celestial scheme is waiting to welcome something beautiful. And that beautiful happened at the bottom of the sea. And I'm talking very scientific, whatever that
Yeah.
science has given us
Yeah.
till now. So at the
Hmm.
bottom of the sea, somewhere in a warm pond, the remember,
Yeah.
non-living elements came together to create that first cellular structure, the first life on our planet. Right?
Yes. Yes.
That's the beginning of one entity which was there, and that entity had the power of mutation and replication and multiplication, and all that was there, and eventually it kept evolving into more complex living structures. And then possibly the fish came into the picture. Then some of them were animals, some of them were plants at the bottom of the sea. So first the plants invaded the land, and then the greenery was created on the land. Then the animals also, some of them started, then you see the amphibians came into the picture, and then it kept on evolving. And we know the story that all the animals and finally human beings came, and over a period of time the shape, size, and consciousness and what not that we have gained as human beings. So all that story has started. That's how the evolution has happened. Now if you look at this evolutionary story,
Hmm.
what has happened? The first, the creation of an entity has happened. So the
Hmm.
first life is the self life, and we don't live that life. Trust me. If
Yeah.
I ask you, who are you? You are your name, you are your title, you are your place, you are your religion, you are your caste. Again, I'll ask you, okay, who are you? So you are your designation, you are your education, you are your domain, you are your profession. Again, I'll ask you, okay, come one more time, try. Who are you? Then you are a wife, you are a sister, you are a daughter. Who are you? Shama Singh. Who are you? Great Khalil Gibran has written very nicely. Someone asked me, who are you? Someone asked me, who are you? And since then, I have been silent. We don't know ourselves,
Oh my God.
right?
Yeah, we
So,
don't know for sure.
so knowing oneself, connecting to oneself, is the beginning of everything. You can't take care of yourself. You can't love yourself. You can't take care of others. You can't love others.
It's not possible.
So,
If you
but
don't
it
love
just
yourself.
we lose ourselves in our roles, responsibilities, relations, professions. That's what happens with us. And that's what I have written in the very first one, that get hold of yourself. I have written have coffee with yourself. Have a date with yourself. Spend by the time some time by the side of this window. And that's important part. Now coming to the second part, what happened the next the fish created their own community and society below, you'll know that. Then
Hmm.
on the land also, you see, first it was that if two animals are coming towards each other, the thought is that either it's my food or I'm going to be its food. That's clear. That's how the evolution happened. So the same happened with animal kingdom also. They were coming towards each other, then they recognized, oh, that entity looks like me. So okay, together we can fight someone else if they are trying to eat me. And that's how the society, community, and society happened. So the second life that got created in our life was not family. Family happened much later. And if you see when agriculture happened, then only family happened. Before that, what was there? The one relationship which was very strong, which was established, was mother-child relationship. Fathers were hunting or all over the place. But that connect was getting lost. So that mother-child relationship was the strongest, the only permanent relationship which was there at that point in time. Nothing else. But so the society and community happened, the tribes happened, societies happened, communities happened, and that's the second life. So social life is the second life that happened. Finally, when agriculture happened, then everybody, since I have made this land worthy, so I will stay around, I will create a hut, and so on and so forth. Came out of the cave, started building homes, and that's how the families started being together. Then the personal life happened. Then over a period of time, what happened that we started that I became a specialist in metals, I became a specialist in wood.
Passions.
So profession happened. And profession was what? There was enough to eat for everyone. Huh? There was no dearth of food. Profession was a sense of contribution, the sense of meaning and purpose. What I'm doing every day. Now I'm not going and hunting only. So what am I doing every day? I'm taking care of family. I'm being with my family. That part did develop, but then what else I am doing? And that's how professional life happened. And even though this is the fourth life I'm talking, then the fifth one, even though I'm talking fifth one as environmental life, but because it is the overarching life over everything else. This is who we are. Why we feel good when we go to a river, to a sea, or a mountain, or a forest? Because we have come home. We don't visit nature, we are nature. And once you have that realization, then your visits to those places, those mountains, those treks, those forests are different. Because you will get that connect, you will get that vibrancy. And there is one book that I read long time back called The Celestine Prophecy. I will strongly recommend that. It's a fiction, but then it is into this, that how we are all interconnected through energy. So that's what I'm saying. These are, 5 distinct lives which are there. Now, I talked about evolution. I have also simultaneously talked about in my book about what our scriptures have written, what ancient civilizations told us, what ancient earliest philosophers have told us. They have told the same thing. People talk about a Stoic philosophy. Go into a Stoic philosophy of Marcus Aurelius and other Greek philosophers. What they have said, what Vedas have written, what Upanishads have written, the same thing. Why it is the ancient people, they worshipped sun. Why we are still worshipping sun? It's a life giver.
Yeah.
So, that connect, why we are worshipping river. It's like worshipping your own home. It's like worshipping the life giver. And so I just, shared with you the evolutionary part of the story of 5 lives. And I was also sharing with you what the scripture said, what the philosopher said, and what is there in various earliest literatures which are there with us. They all talked about the same thing, different aspects of life that we have and we need to live them for real happiness, well-being, and success. I mean, repeatedly it is there. Now, there is a third aspect. There are some of you may not still, listen to the evolutionary story and what the scriptures and all are saying. Look at the research in psychology. You pick up psychology research in happiness, well-being, and success. You will get an echo of the same story that I have been telling of these 5 lives. The same thing. Take care of yourself first. If self-care is the beginning of good mental health, self-care is the beginning of emotional well-being. They will also tell you, somebody who has, unfortunately, having some anxiety or a stress issue, they say, please go out into the nature. Please spend some time near a mountain or a sea or a forest, or just go for a walk in the park, if not more. Sometime in the sun. These are the recommendations which are there as per psychology research also.
Absolutely.
Another aspect which is there, that psychology research tells you, let's have a society connect. Spend time with people who may or may not be connected with you in personal life or professional life. Do spend time in the community, whichever way you can. Again, this psychology research also says that Though, we talk about workplace well-being, work-life integration, work-life balance today. The biggest aspect of it, repeatedly, as per psychology, is that the sense of purpose and sense of meaning. That, yeah, that I'm doing something worthwhile back, which is embedded in us from evolution, right when the agriculture was developing and various trades were developing. Now we need to become cognizant of that. That's what psychology research also says. So that's what I have done in the book. I have not just about written, I've written in the format of what, why, and how. Each 5 sections are there. Each section has 3 subsections: what, why, and how. So that even third part is that how you are going to do it also. Even that is there, and what is there, etc. Everything I have explained in that, and I have given this evolution, what the ancient, philosophers or the ancient scriptures have told us, and what psychology research is telling you today. All three I have written. So if please don't listen to me, listen to them. That's what I have tried putting in my book in, as least words as possible for me. But I've done that in the book.
No, but
Yeah.
thank you for bringing that wisdom, of how do we really connect the dots, synthesis of all this. These things have been said. These things have been are there in scriptures. They think the psychology as a subject is has developed. Over the third wave of psychology has humanistic theory, the existential theory is there,
Mhm.
much like
Mhm.
the earlier psychologists have been. It was more instructive. But these days, what you're saying,
Mhm.
and the last version where the psychology is also talking about the techniques that have changed also in psychology,
Mhm.
mindfulness,
Mhm.
connecting with
Mhm.
yourself. In fact,
Mhm.
since I'm a practicing the therapist also, so one of the things that we also go back and tell people that do yoga session, get in touch with yourself, and you are and I think this all what I'm also kind of while I was hearing, it also comes from your space that you've explored and have been learning life while experiencing it on your own. So
Mhm.
your time that you spent
Mhm.
completely silent for 22 days,
Mhm.
then being
Mhm.
a yoga trainer yourself,
Mhm.
helping people there also. So I think the culmination of this wealth in terms of knowledge, I would say, I think is a brilliant work. So people, if you have not really,
Mhm.
you are depriving yourself of a bigger
Mhm.
wealth,
Yes, sir.
and I
Yeah.
call it self-discovery,
Mhm.
the knowledge
Mhm.
that Amlesh has kind of, shared with all of us. So Amlesh, thank you
Mhm.
for sharing that bit. Moving on to our the next question, which is, so your book talks about true and lasting happiness, well-being, and success. That's the so if anybody is reading the book, what is it and how scientifically explaining all the the different dots about it, how and whys of it, and also kind of how is the question that people always kind of seek, and why is also the question that people always seek. So thank you for quoting it like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But since it talks about lasting happiness, well-being, and success, what final message would you like to give on the same to our listeners and to everybody who's watching this podcast and they have the privilege of listening to you today?
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks a lot, first of all, for resonating with some of my thoughts. Uh, in the book, as I was mentioning, that the third subsection of 5 sections which are there, uh, it's about how of the penta life, that how that particular, that how to live the self life, how to live the social life, and so on and so forth. So there is a clear path that has been given, to the best, again, to the best of my understanding. A lot can be added, a lot of knowledge exists in,
Yeah.
a lot of wisdom exists in this world, but this is what my thinking, that whatever that I have earned through my learnings and all, so that I have tried putting. So what I'm inviting people to, I will again say that we have 5 lives. We live 2.5 lives. Trust me, we are good in our personal life to a great extent. Most parts of the world, we are good in personal life. We are good in professional life also. We do justice to whatever profession we are, whichever job we are doing, whichever company we are working, wherever institution we are working, we really do fairly good job. But then when it comes to living the self life, that's where it's there is some kind of a disconnect is there. We get lost while chasing our education, higher education, then profession, then higher
Titles.
designation, and so on. Yeah, and then relations come into the picture. There's some existing relation, then we get married, then there's some more relations. In these roles, relations, responsibilities, somewhere the person gets lost. self gets lost. And it's very important to, as you were rightly mentioning, to connect to that. You know, I went for 22 days, complete silence, frugal life inside a Buddhist pagoda, and, one time solid meal, 12 noon meal was over. All through the day, it was meditation, meditation, meditation. And people were saying, how, first of all, you can stay silent like that. And then again, it comes with, but people also ask, what the hell did you get out of it? Then I had just one answer to that, that I met myself. That's what happened in those 22 days. Amlesh Rajan met Amlesh Rajan for the first time. It's that powerful. When you go completely silent and then all senses are focused here within you, then it happens. And that's what happened with me. Now, I'm not saying that everybody will go for the 22 days or 11 days kind of a silence retreat. You need not be. But very consciously, please spend some time with yourself. Get into some bit of meditation. Into some bit of pranayama, get into some bit of yoga. You see, normally we look at yoga as only a physical practice, asanas and all. There's just one part of the story. There are kriyas, there is breathing and balance, there's pranayama and meditation. Dharana, dhyana, samadhi is what yoga talks about. Concentration, meditation, and then ultimate salvation that gets talked about. So at least get into those zones, sit still, sit quietly, sit with yourself, have a date with yourself, have a coffee with yourself, and it's very liberating. It's really, really self-nourishing, and then you will take care of the world in a much better way. That's what is the first thing that I would like to tell everyone. As I said, personal life, mostly people know that how they are going about. Still a lot of good things can be done there, and I have written that about in my book, but I won't go there. Even professional life also, each profession is different, everybody is, and again I have written that how you go about your professional life, but I will not go there also. As far as I am concerned, to me the personal life is about love, and the professional life is about value. That new value that you create is what is professional life to me, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. That incremental new value, that's what is professional life, right? Now, but I will talk about the social life, the second life which is there. First life, I talk self life, then social life. In the social life, what happens? We leave our places where we have grown up and studied, and the social connect goes away. We have a really rich social life there, but it gets disconnected. Now, what happens? First, your professional life, you are alone. Your professional life, by extension, becomes social life also. You are happy having your Friday evenings with your college, school, office buddies. Now, over weekend, what happens? Then your personal life, your relatives and whosoever is there nearby and so on and so forth, then extension, that becomes your social lifetime spent there. There need to be a distinct social life. And that social life, how it can come? It can come by pursuing a passion. There is something, some sports, some games, some art, some singing, something is there. Just revive all that. Find out a group. Now, in that group, you will just be you. You will not be your designation. You will not be your relation. You will be just you. I play cricket at this age also. I play serious cricket with 20, 22 years olds. I get abused and shouted at in the field. I'm not a director there. I'm not an executive coach there. And they have got this freedom and empowerment from my side to please treat me the way you will treat any other player. And it's that reality check can happen in the social circle. That's one part of it. Pick up a cause which is dear to your heart. Give back to the community in some way. That's how also you will get your happiness, well-being, and sense of success really is there. And the final one, the fifth life, the environmental life I said, is again, go spend time in the nature. It's your home. Long time back, I wrote a couplet. I love to write at times in Urdu, Hindi mix also, as they say, Hindustani Hindi. So, वो हिंदी में है. I will try to translate that also. दरों दीवारों से भरी ये दुनिया एक कैद ही तो है. दरों दीवारों से भरी ये दुनिया एक कैद ही तो है. चलो बिना दीवारों के घर हम बनाए. सब्ज हो जमीन नीचे, नीला आसमान ऊपर, शफ़क़े आफ़ताब से रोशन शहर हम बनाए. So if I have to just translate is that, we have made walls, we live in a box, we get into a box to reach another box to work, come back again, and this boxed life. Let's build a, world which is green below, blue above, and, you know, illuminated by sun and moon. So I'm saying that the life with nature has to be lived with full consciousness every day, even if for half an hour. Go into that park, nearby park. Go once in a while to those spaces. And again, I'm saying you may not be able to do every day, but once a week, 2 to 3 hours in a social hobby or some cause, an hour or two in some natural space, and on an everyday basis, some time with yourself, meditation and yoga and all. That's all that you need to start with. And rest all you know how to do. So if you'll go through the book, you will get these messages, you will get the connect, you will get the flow, you will get the how to do. And that's what, so I invite people to live those all, 5 lives in its totality. And, say more often than not, we are searching for happiness in those, bigger apartments, bigger cars, uh, that meal out there. It only lasts till you see the next bigger car. If it is parked next to you, then you have to, whatever that you have, you will be
Go
unhappy
on.
in no time. The same happens till you visit somebody else's apartment, which is bigger than you. Somehow our true happiness are not in those materialistic and even relational pursuit. I'm not trying to undermine relations. Not completely there in your personal life. It's not completely there in professional life. It's out there in self, social, and environmental life as well. And you are missing out on them. Please get hold of that. Please live to the full. Somebody said, there is this famous song, you got one life, live it up. Yeah, right? Something like that. Some song is there. I say, you have 5 lives in this one life. Live it to the full. And that's my final
Yeah.
message.
The Gen Zs have been using that term called YOLO, you only live once. So
Okay.
probably they have got the sense of life in a much stronger way. But YOLO has 5 elements of it. And thank you for beautifully explaining that to all of us. Everyone if you are listening to this, trust me, you are really investing your time into something that will give you purpose, that will give you meaning, and that will also, the author has shared, this is not coming from, from a space where a person has not lived this. This, what you hear today, is the wealth. I call it wealth. I call it sheer wealth because this, how do you really go about nurturing yourself will is a decisive factor, is what I hear you saying, Amlesh. So while you wear multiple hats, and I'm very keen to also ask you, and one of the AODN discussion these days, and very heated discussion that happens. I'm sure I know that we have met for the book, that you have written, and we are taking it with the readers. But more so, the heated discussion that is happening, and the discussion that is happening on resilience, some on the EY case that has just happened. Then we also see, we have seen multiple cases of an HDFC executive dying owing to high pressure. So I'm sure when you are, explaining all this to all of us, how do you perceive work-life balance slash work-life integration? How, as an author, what do you go back and tell our readers on cases like this and people those who are working in corporates? What is your message to you
Yeah.
can share with us?
Yeah, sure. Thanks a lot. This again, the what is happening at the intersection of work and life is again something, and I like to call myself, a person who is trying to create some contribution in for work-life harmonization. I don't even call it work-life balance or work-life integration as it is called in the corporate world. So, I wrote, after the Pune thing happened, and as an author, one of the first thing that happened, how do I, create some valuable message and give it out to the world? And I wrote beating burnouts, or then I also gave a title like Burnout to Bloom Up. The 7 players
Mm-hmm.
and the roles they can play. something like that. That blog I have written, that the 7 players and the roles that can play. So what I have written in that is that you see the burnout or work life harmonization or work life integration is a team game. That's why I'm saying beating burnouts. Yes, we
Mhm.
can win. We need to win together here. And the first player, of course, is the organization. A lot of things needs to happen here at the policy level. Then it is leadership that they need to demonstrate by their own behaviors. Then it's the managers who have the first hand knowledge of how much is pressure somebody is having in terms of work and what is happening with somebody's life. A leader may not be able. So the leader has to exemplify, but manager has to see. The fourth player in this I have written is the self. If employee doesn't get conscious of themselves, that what is right for them, what is too much for them, to get out of their sense of insecurity which keeps on driving them, the other person is sitting, I'm also sitting, a lot of things happen, need to chasing some of those undue dreams. And right, it starts right from academics itself. Ivy League university admission to, you see, it's madness somehow. And that's how I'm saying the fifth one in that list is the society. It's very, very important role that the society plays.
Absolutely.
Then the family. Family, if family is not seeing what is happening with a particular professional, wherever, whether they are young professionals, old professionals, whosoever is there, even the old ones are also having massive burnout. They don't, maybe they are not expressing, they are too shy, and they are already occupying a position. A CEO is having a massive burnout, but we don't express. As such, their leadership is alone more than not, because they're lonely at the top. They don't have anybody to talk, and that's why somewhere, again, being it may sound like selling my profession little, but a coach and a counselor is the seventh player in this whole scheme of things. And it's
Absolutely.
worthwhile to have in-house professional counselors. It's worthwhile to have in-house coaches. And if you can't
Absolutely.
afford to have in-house, please hire from outside. And if company is not providing and I need to go to the counselor, I will go to the counselor. I'll break that stigma. And that's society has a big role to play here. We embed mental health as a stigma. Going to a counselor is a stigma
Yeah.
in most parts of our society. We need to get out of that. We need to be supportive as a society. So, these are that's how at least I have seen the 7 players. Again, it can be fleshed out, and, I can write more on that. But then this is what is these are my thoughts on, how we can turn burnouts into bloom ups as I look at them. Yeah.
So yeah, burnout is a reality, and more so in Indian landscape. More that how the society, in totality, has changed. Not in terms of expectations. Expectations for whether it is a Gen Z or millennials like us, the expectations have remained the same. However, in terms of challenges, however, in terms of balancing things, we still see there's a gap. And one of the very important element that you said, that all of us need counseling, coaching, empathy, active listening, all of it. So although in our society still, even today,
Mhm.
this is there's a stigma around attached to it, that if
Mhm.
somebody is
Mhm.
meeting a counselor,
Mhm.
there happens a lot of labeling.
Mhm. Mhm.
However, having said all of it, in fact, post COVID, the coaching industry has seen a significant rise.
Yeah.
Not
Okay.
that no one has figured it all right, and we all need support, and hence a lot of empathy, a lot of coaching, and from burnout to bloom. I really enjoyed, how did you, kind of conveyed, or kind of really change the whole connotation around. So I think that
Yeah.
that is something which is very beautiful.
Thank you.
And
Thank
I
you so
think we
much.
really need this whole topic needs a lot of addressing. So
Yeah.
surely
Sure.
we will address it on a larger platform somewhere, some
Sure.
other time
Sure.
also. But
Sure.
thank you
Sure.
for sharing that
Thank you.
bit with us.
Yeah.
And people, if you have not got your copy, I'm sure today we have given you a lot of reasons to why. you should. In fact, in case you wish to really also understand more bits of it, I am going to share. Amlesh is going to be marked in this post, so you can. He is a lovely person to talk to. You can always ask, more things about the book, and also
Mhm.
please rate the book, read the book, and share your love. We This would really help you to help create wealth of knowledge, and for others also. Just share amongst the community and build a community and self-love. I mean, that's the final message that I also would like to also share. So thank you everyone for your time, for taking our time and watching us. And in turn, we are giving you back the wealth that Amlesh has given. So on that note, thank you everyone. Thank you, Amlesh. It was lovely
Thank you.
interacting with you, learning things from you, and getting the meaning of life a little closer, maybe, or two steps, maybe, after this conversation. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks, Shama, and thanks everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye, everyone. Bye.